I still think about that moment sometimes, the way the cafe went quiet. Before we start, if you enjoy learning English through real stories, make sure to subscribe to the channel. The way the barista looked at me with wide eyes. The way the man next to me turned slowly in his chair, confused, holding his coffee cup in both hands. And me, standing there, smiling politely, completely sure that I was doing the right thing. I was not doing the right thing, but I didn't know that yet. My name is Sofia Castillo. I'm from Seville in Spain. I was 27 years old when this happened, and I was traveling alone for the first time in my life. Not just traveling in English. That was the scary part. I spoke English in school for many years. I passed my exams. I watched American movies with subtitles. I thought, okay, I am ready. I can do this. But there is a big difference between English in a classroom and English in real life. In the classroom, people wait for you. They are patient. They say, "Very good, Sophia." In real life, nobody waits. People talk fast. They use strange expressions. They look at you when you pause too long and your mind goes completely empty. That was my problem. The moment someone spoke to me in English, my brain stopped working. I started translating everything in my head, from Spanish to English, from English to Spanish, and by the time I understood, the conversation had already moved on. I was good at English, but I was not confident, and that made everything harder. So I decided to do something about it. I booked a flight to New York City. New York was my dream. I had seen it in films, in photographs, in music videos. I wanted to walk those streets, drink coffee in one of those small corner cafes, and feel like, just for a few days, I belonged somewhere exciting. I arrived on a Tuesday morning in October. The sky was that clean, cold blue that makes everything look like a movie. I took the subway from the airport, which was already a small adventure, and I found my hotel in Brooklyn. The first day, I walked for hours. I crossed bridges. I looked at the skyline. I ate a pretzel from a street cart, which was nothing like anything back home in Seville, but I didn't say that out loud. By the afternoon of my second day, I was tired. Not just physically tired. I was tired from concentrating, from listening so hard, from trying to understand every word, every sign, every announcement on the subway. I needed a quiet place to sit, a place with good coffee and no pressure. I found it on a small street in the West Village, a cafe with wooden walls and warm yellow light and the smell of something baked and sweet. It was not crowded, just a few people at small tables, working on laptops, reading books, speaking quietly. Perfect, I thought. This is exactly what I need. I went to the counter and ordered a flat white. My voice was steady. I was proud of myself. The barista, a young woman with short red hair and a kind face, smiled and said, "Coming right up." I found a seat at a small table near the window. Next to me, about 1 meter away, there was a man sitting alone. He had a cup of coffee and a notebook open on the table. He was writing something slowly, not looking up. I noticed him, the way you notice someone when they feel familiar, like someone you have seen before but cannot remember where. He had dark hair, a quiet face, calm eyes. He was wearing a simple dark jacket. Nothing special about his clothes, but something about him felt, I don't know, known. I told myself I was tired and imagining things. I opened my own notebook and tried to write about my day. The barista brought my coffee. "Thank you," I said. "Good, normal, fine." I took a sip. It was excellent, smooth and strong. I felt my shoulders relax for the first time in 2 days. Then I wanted sugar. I looked at the counter. There was a small bowl of sugar packets next to the coffee machine. I didn't want to get up. I was comfortable. I was relaxed. I had just sat down. So I waited until the barista looked in my direction. "Excuse me," I said. "Is there sugar?" She smiled and pointed to the bowl on the counter. "Help yourself," she said. I nodded. "Thank you." She walked to the other end of the counter, and then I sat there and I thought about what she had just said. Help yourself. In Spanish, if someone says ayúdate a ti mismo, it means help yourself, like take care of yourself, do it alone. But it also sounds like an instruction, like someone telling you to find help, to go and get help from somewhere. I thought, maybe she means I should ask someone. Maybe she is busy and she means, go ahead, ask someone nearby to help you. I thought about it for a few seconds. I looked at the sugar on the counter. I looked at the man next to me. Maybe he was a regular here. Maybe he knew where things were. Maybe, and this felt very logical to me in that moment, she meant I should just ask the person next to me. I turned in my chair. "Excuse me," I said politely. "Can you help me?" That was the moment everything became awkward. The man turned slowly. He looked at me. Not unfriendly, not annoyed, just confused. Genuinely, completely confused. "With what?" he said. His voice was calm and low. "The sugar," I said. I pointed toward the counter. She said to help myself, so I thought. I stopped talking because the barista was now looking at us. Her expression was very hard to describe. It was not laughing. It was not confused. It was something between surprise and trying very hard not to smile. A woman at the table behind me had looked up from her laptop. The man next to me was still looking at me. He was not impatient. He was just waiting. And then, in my stomach, I felt it, that small cold feeling, the feeling that says, you have made a mistake. "Oh," I said quietly. I turned back to the barista. "Excuse me," I said, and I could feel my face getting hot. "When you said, help yourself, what did you mean?" The barista came closer. Her voice was very gentle. "It means you can take it," she said. "Like, go ahead, it's there for you. Help yourself to the sugar." She smiled. "It's an expression, like, feel free to take it." I closed my eyes for exactly 1 second. Of course, help yourself. Take it. It is there. Go ahead. Not, please ask someone for help. Not, find another person to assist you. Not anything I had imagined. I had just asked a stranger to get sugar for me because I misunderstood a very simple English expression in a New York cafe. "I'm so sorry," I said to the man. "I misunderstood. My English is—" I stopped. "I'm sorry." And then he smiled. It was a very specific kind of smile, warm and quiet and slightly amused, but not unkind. The kind of smile that says it's fine, don't worry, without saying any words. He reached over to the small bowl of sugar packets on the edge of the counter, which I now realized was close enough for me to reach myself, and he placed 2 packets on my table. "Here," he said simply. "Thank you," I said. I wanted to disappear inside my coffee cup. I turned back to my notebook. I stared at the page. I wrote nothing. I could still feel my face burning. After a few minutes, I picked up my coffee. I breathed slowly. "Okay," I told myself. "It is fine. It was just a small mistake. Nobody will remember. You will never see these people again." I glanced once more at the man next to me. He had gone back to his notebook. His hand moved slowly across the page. His face was relaxed and still, and there was something so familiar about it that I finally let myself really look. The dark hair, the calm eyes, the very particular shape of his face. My brain made the connection slowly, the way a photograph develops. No, that was not possible. I looked again. He didn't notice. He was writing. I looked at his hands, his jacket, his face, and then I knew. I had just asked Keanu Reeves to help me get sugar. I sat completely still. I did not move for a long time. I thought about every decision I had made in my life that had led to this exact moment. The flight I booked, the street I had walked down, the cafe I had chosen, the table I had sat at, the sugar I had wanted. The barista was watching me with a small smile on her face. I think she had known the whole time. I opened my mouth. I closed it again. The man, Keanu, my brain kept saying Keanu, glanced over at me. "Are you okay?" he asked. "Yes," I said. My voice came out very small. I think I know who you are." He smiled again. That same calm, quiet smile. "Sorry about the confusion," he said. "No," I said quickly. "Please?" It was completely my fault. I didn't understand the expression. I paused. "It's a little embarrassing." "Don't be embarrassed," he said. He seemed to mean it. "In Spanish," I said, because I couldn't stop talking now. "The phrase sounds different. It sounded like she was telling me to find help. I thought—" I stopped. It doesn't matter what I thought. He laughed. It was a real laugh, short and genuine. "That's actually a great story," he said. I didn't know what to say, so I just said, "Thank you for the sugar." He nodded once, still smiling, and went back to his notebook. I stayed in that cafe for another 40 minutes. I did not speak again. I drank my coffee slowly and watched the light change outside the window. At some point, he gathered his things, stood up, and left. He nodded at me once as he walked past. I nodded back. The barista watched him leave and then looked at me with raised eyebrows. I put my hand over my face. She laughed. I have thought about that moment many times since then, not just because of who was sitting next to me. Though yes, I have thought about that too, many, many times. I think about it because of what it taught me. I had spent so long worrying about making mistakes in English. I checked my sentences before I spoke them. I rehearsed words in my head. I was afraid of saying something wrong and looking foolish. And then I made a mistake, a real one, in front of other people, in front of someone quite famous, and the world did not end. It was uncomfortable for about 3 minutes. My face was red. I felt embarrassed. I wanted to leave, but then it passed. And what I was left with was not shame, but a story, a real story. Something that happened to me on a real Tuesday in October in a cafe in the West Village, because I was trying to speak a language that was not my first one, in a city I had dreamed about for years. That, I think, is worth more than getting everything right. Help yourself, by the way, is one of my favorite English expressions now. I use it whenever I can. When friends visit me in Seville, I put food on the table, I open my hands, and I say, "Help yourself." And sometimes I think of a quiet cafe, a bowl of sugar packets, a man with a notebook, and I smile. Because that was the day I learned that making a mistake in a foreign language is not the end of the story. Sometimes it is the story. If you enjoyed this story, subscribe to the channel and tell me in the comments. Have you ever had a funny misunderstanding in English?